Hey guys, welcome back to the DAHKTUBE. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. So the topic we're doing today is called surds. So a surd is an irrational root of a rational number, meaning the nth root of a number. Now it is usually in the form n root a, where a must be greater than 0, and a is in the set of rational numbers. So it's a fancy Q. And n must be greater than 1, and n must be in the set of natural numbers. So a is what we call the radicand. The square root sign is what we call the radical. And n is what we call the order of the root. So let's say we have 3 root 8, meaning the cube root of 8. Now, the order of this would be 3. So the number that falls here is the order. So the order is 3. And the radicand is 8, which is this here. Okay, so if we have n root of a, it can also be written as a to the 1 over n, where a is the base and 1 over n is the index or the power. That's the same thing as saying 4 to the half power. And this would write as 2 to the 2 to the half, and the 2's would cancel, so we get 2. So that means the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so we have types of surds. So we have about 4 types of surds that we're going to be doing. So the first type of surd is called a pure surd. Now a pure surd has a rational coefficient that is 1. For example, let's say we have 1 times the m root of a. So because this is 1, that means it is a pure surd. So because the coefficient is 1, it is a pure surd, which is saying that we have this here. So let's try an example with a number. Let's say we have 1 times root 5. We know that that would be root 5. Next one is a mixed surd. So it has a rational coefficient that is not 1, nor is it 0. So it cannot be 0 because 0 times anything would be 0. So that wouldn't factor in at all. So let's say we have p m root of a. So for example, let's use a number. Let's say we have 8 root 5. So because the coefficient is not 1, nor is it 0, that means it is a mixed surd. Another example would be 2 cube root 7. So because this is not 1, it is a mixed surd. The next one we have is like surds. So like surds have the same order and the same radicand. So for example, let's say we have p m root a and q m root a. So even though the coefficients are different, it says that it must have the same order and the same radicand. So the order here is the same and the radicand here is the same. So that means they are like surds. So the next one, you have unlike surds. So that means they do not have the same order, or they don't have the same radicand, or both. So for example, let's say we have, let's just use some numbers. Let's say we have root 5 and cube root of 5. So here, you realize that the orders are not the same. So this order is not the same thing as this order. So that means these two would be unlike surds. So that's for when they don't have the same order. So let's say we have 4th root of 3 and 4th root of 7. So now if you look at it, you realize that the orders are the same, but the radicands are different. So because the radicands are different, they are unlike surds. So these are when the radicands differ, when the order differ. And now we're going to do example when both are different. So let's say we have 3 and 4th root of 5. So if you look at this one, you realize that the orders are different and the radicands are also different. So these are the different ways that you could have unlike surds. So this is when both are different, meaning both the order and the radicand. So just like laws of logarithm or laws of indices, you have laws of surds. So for example, let's say you have n root a. This can also be written as a to the 1 over n. So that means if you have n root a raised to the n, that means you'd have a to the 1 over n to the nth power. That would mean you have a to the 1 over n times n. So these would cancel, and you'd have a to the 1, which is the same thing as a. Likewise, if you had n a to the m, it would be a to the m raised to the 1 over n. So that would be a to the m times 1 over n. You'd have a to the m over n. If you have n root a times n root b, so because the orders are the same, you can have one big square root and be multiplying everything underneath it. The same thing applies for if you're dividing. So it should be then it would be one big square root because the orders are the same. So these are some laws of surds. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for staying tuned. The next video we'll be doing reduction of surds. So see you guys next time on the DAHKTUBE.